Hey guys, Marcus Melnick here with Firearm Mentor. Hope you're enjoying my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. These little things are free to you and really help the channel. I appreciate your support. Enjoy. Thank you.
The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters. Greetings and welcome to the Personal Safety Show. This is Marcus Melnick from Firearm Mentor and Stress to Logic, your host. And there's been a lot of things that have been happening in the news, safety related, and I want to share them with you. But before we do, I want to talk about what running a small business is like. Let's just say I had more hair when I began, and I'm kidding when I say that. But when you have a small business, problems occur, and in the last 6 months, I've had 3 customer relationship management softwares. One of them was great. They just no longer wanted to deal with anyone who dealt with firearms, so I was told I needed to get a new one. I got 2 others signed up, and they did not deliver upon what they promised. So one of them completely ignored my complaints, and then the second one, I'm actually working towards getting a refund, and if I don't get a refund, I'm going to have to be reporting them to the authorities for fraud. If you have a small business and you'd like to know which companies they are, I'm not going to say them publicly on this radio show, but you can always reach out to me on my electronic business card, which is marcusmelnick.com. That is MarcusMelnick.com. And I would love to help you. If you have other business questions, happy to help you. So I can give you that information. So a couple things that have been happening in the news. Well, let's just talk about the president who's going to be inaugurated tomorrow. He has publicly said that he wants concealed carry reciprocity, and recently it has been included in a United States House proposal. So congressional approval is being sought to allow people with state-issued concealed carry licenses or permits to conceal a handgun in any other state. The Constitutional Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act, authored by U.S. Representative Richard Hudson, who's a Republican from North Carolina, would amend Title 18 in the United States Code. As of a week and a half ago, 124 co-sponsors, all Republicans, including 6 from North Carolina, were on board in the chamber. President-elect Donald Trump has pledged to sign it if the bill reaches his desk. Senate chambers have been a stumbling block, but now is a 53-47 majority for Republican. The House is 219-215 for the grand old party with 1 vacancy. Quote, "Our Second Amendment right does not disappear when we cross invisible state lines, and this common sense legislation guarantees that," Hudson said. He goes on to say the Constitutional Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act will protect law-abiding citizens' rights to conceal carry and travel freely between states without worrying about conflicting state codes or onerous civil suits. Litigation was recently filed in a Minnesota federal court by a Texas-based group called the Liberty Justice Center on behalf of 2 long-haul truckers licensed to carry in Texas, Florida, and Georgia. Minnesota doesn't recognize permits from those 3 states or 26 others. The NRA, Institute for Legislative Action, Gun Owners of America, the U.S. Concealed Carry Association, and the National Shooting Sports Foundation support this legislation. This legislation, said Lawrence Keene of Shooting Sports Foundation, eliminates the confusing patchwork of laws surrounding concealed carry permits that vary from state to state, particularly with regard to states where laws make unwitting criminals out of legal permit holders for the simple mistake of making a wrong turn. It safeguards a state's right to determine their own laws while protecting the Second Amendment rights of all Americans. Republican Representatives Dr. Greg Murphy, Pat Harrigan, David Rouser, Virginia Fox, Tim Moore, and Addison McDowell are among the co-sponsors. The right to self-defense is fundamental and doesn't stop at a state line, Harrigan said in a release. This legislation dismantles the unnecessary barriers that punish responsible gun owners and ensures no American is forced to leave their constitutional rights at the border of a state. This is promising news. I don't think it'll pass, but I could be wrong. I'd love to be wrong in this case. Segueing into what's called the Blue Envelope Program, the state of Massachusetts has initiated it, and I'm going to explain what it is and how it works with local law enforcement. The Blue Envelope Program is an effort to ease communication between individuals who are on the autism spectrum and law enforcement during motor vehicle operator infractions or interactions. The Blue Envelope Initiative represents a collaborative effort aimed at fostering a safer and more understanding environment for drivers with autism spectrum disorder during traffic stops. The program emerged from a partnership between the Massachusetts Chief of Police Association, the Massachusetts State Police, Advocates for Autism of Massachusetts, and the ARC of Massachusetts, alongside input from individuals and their individual families. You can find tips on the autism spectrum and tips for law enforcement interacting with drivers, and I'm going to go over those tips right now. So, tips for autism spectrum drivers: stay calm. This is actually for anyone. Try to remain as calm as possible. Deep breathing can manage stress levels. Number 2, use your blue envelope. When the officer gets to your car, say, "I have a blue envelope." Keep your blue envelope in an easily accessible and visible place like the sun visor. When the officer tells you slowly, get the blue envelope. If the officer is unaware of the purpose, politely request that they scan the QR code to learn more. There's instructions on it. Listen to and the officer is going to give instructions as well. Listen to the officer's instructions and try to follow them as best you can. If you don't understand something, it's okay to ask for clarification. When the officer needs to go back to the cruiser, you will need to wait in your car for the officer until they come back, which may take up to 10 to 15 minutes. When the police officer comes back, they'll explain the end of the stop and will tell you when to leave. Always keep your hands visible and avoid making sudden movements. Inform the officer if you need to go into your pocket or glove compartment for anything like paperwork. And keep your hands on the steering wheel unless otherwise directed, even if the officer is not at your car. Remember that the officer might shine a flashlight in your car, may have a radio, may have flashing lights on their car. And in a situation where you feel overwhelmed or may not be able to communicate clearly, you can request the officer to contact your designated emergency contact. For law enforcement officers, the blue envelope is a signal that the driver is on the autism spectrum. Note the communication tips provided on the envelope. It's also very important to exercise patience. The officer needs to understand that the individual may need more time to process information and respond. Avoid rushing them. Use simple, direct language and give one instruction at a time. Avoid idioms or phrases that might be misunderstood. Allow drivers extra time to respond as they may need more time to formulate their response. Clearly tell the driver when the stop is over and that they may leave. Pay attention to nonverbal cues that might indicate the driver is feeling overwhelmed or stress. Drivers might exhibit signs of high anxiety, especially due to bright lights and radio noises. Individuals on the autism spectrum may display repetitive body movements or fidgeting or may have unusual eye contact. Additionally, note that they may exhibit unusual speech patterns, especially under stress. If you notice signs of distress, consider ways to de-escalate, such as reducing sensory inputs, like turning off the sirens. A lot of times people on the autism spectrum disorder are auditorily defensive, which means they don't like the loud noise. And if the driver becomes upset, ask or consider contacting the person listed on the contact card. The core idea of the blue envelope is straightforward yet impactful. It involves a specially designed envelope that holds a driver's essential documents, the license, registration, and the contact card. However, its significance goes beyond just a storage solution. The envelope features critical communication guidelines on its exterior, specifically tailored to assist law enforcement officers in recognizing and adapting their approach when interacting with a driver who has autism. The initiative addresses several key objectives, including enhancing understanding. By providing officers with immediate, accessible information about autism, the Blue Envelope aims to promote empathy and patience, leading to more positive interactions. It's also designed to reduce anxiety. Traffic stops can be particularly stressful for individuals with autism, and the Blue Envelope serves as a visual cue that helps officers adjust their communication style, reducing driver anxiety. It also streamlines communication. The guidelines on the envelope offer practical tips for officers, making it easier for them to communicate effectively with individuals who have autism, even in a high-stress situation like a traffic stop. It also encourages preparedness. For individuals with autism and their families, the Blue Envelope tool is a tool that encourages preparedness. By keeping their important documents in the envelope and understanding how to present it during a stop, drivers can feel more confident and secure. The Blue Envelope is more than just an envelope. It's a symbol of the commitment to inclusivity and understanding. And it represents a step forward in ensuring that every driver, regardless of neurological differences, can experience a sense of safety and respect on the road. Through this program, we aim to build bridges between law enforcement and the autism community, fostering a culture of awareness and compassion that benefits everyone involved. Now, I did a little bit of a research, and locally, the only department that I found that is starting this program is the Park Ridge Police Department. And I did reach out, but nobody got back to me. I wanted to interview one of their people in their crime prevention unit, but that didn't happen. So to request the Blue Envelope, you can go to mass.gov and look up Blue Envelope. And there's an online form to have that envelope mailed to you. Once you have it, the next step is to prepare it properly to ensure it serves its intended purpose during a traffic stop. This preparation not only involves placing the right documents inside, but also knowing where to keep the envelope in your vehicle for easy access. Here's how to get the envelope ready. Gather documents. Collect your copy of your driver's license and vehicle registration. And in Illinois, you also need to have a copy of your insurance card. Put the documents inside. Insert them into the Blue Envelope. The design of the envelope ensures that your documents are secure, yet easily retrievable. Consider attaching it to your sun visor or ensuring accessibility. For ease of access, the sun visor is probably the easiest side, but the placement also ensures that the envelope is readily available should you need to present your documents quickly. The envelope is designed to be easily noticed, signaling them to adjust their communication approach. If you share your vehicle with family members or friends, inform them about the Blue Envelope and its purpose. This is crucial for ensuring that anyone who might be driving your vehicle knows where the documents are and understands their importance. Also, you're going to need to regularly update your documents. Make sure to replace the documents in the Blue Envelope with their most current versions. Typically, you get a new registration card when you renew your license plate sticker. Also, depending on when you renew your insurance, I happen to renew mine every 6 months. So every 6 months, I get a new insurance card. That would have to be replaced in the Blue Envelope. Taking the time to properly prepare your Blue Envelope is a proactive step towards ensuring a smooth interaction during a traffic stop. The preparation not only helps to reduce stress for the driver, but also assists law enforcement in recognizing and adapting their approach to accommodate the needs of the individuals on the autism spectrum. By having your Blue Envelope ready and accessible, you contribute to creating a safer, more understanding environment for everyone on the road. Remember, the Blue Envelope is more than just a holder for your documents. It's a communication tool designed to bridge the gap between drivers on the autism spectrum and law enforcement. Taking these steps to prepare your envelope ensures you're ready to use this tool effectively whenever it is needed. So this is a phenomenal program. As you may know, I've worked with NAMI, the National Alliance for Mental Illness, and some other organizations that work with adults with special needs, like Total Lincoln Northbrook. That's a fantastic organization. They have all sorts of programs for young adults with special needs. Usually they're in their 20s. And I did a Street Smart seminar for the participants about a month or two ago, and they were just awesome. Really interactive, not inhibited at all. And I just had an absolute blast also trying to make them safe. So it was a good deed in addition to being a lot of fun. So if you need a blue envelope, you can go to mass.gov or you can contact the Park Ridge Police Department. Now, the trouble with this program is it's new. It's a great program, but not every police department is going to participate in it. So even if an autistic driver is in an area that doesn't participate in it, but has a blue envelope, the officer should be able to think on their feet, which is what they do almost all the time, realize what it is, read the outside of the envelope, and then adjust themselves appropriately. Just like anyone else, people who work in law enforcement, they have family members with special needs, just like non-law enforcement people. And chances are there's going to be a member of the department who knows or has a relative who has a special need, like autism, like Down syndrome, like MMI, mild mental impairment, which was the term that used to be used. I don't know if it's still used, so I apologize if that is not politically correct. But when I worked in special education in the late 1990s, that was the term of the day, and I have not been updated on it. So again, I apologize. I'm trying to be respectful of all the changing names and pronouns and all this other stuff that's happening in the world today.
I want my listeners to know that this is my dream, teaching people about safety. If it weren't for you, if it weren't for my listeners, I couldn't live my dream. So on behalf of my family and myself, I want to thank each and every one of you for allowing me to live my dream. And I also want to continue to live my dream, and I'm excited to continue to spread the word of safety. Recently, I began a new service as a conference keynote speaker. So if anyone would like for me to speak at future events, or if anyone knows of an introduction or would like to discuss how we can work with one another, I'd love to do just that. The keynote speaking website is www.stress2logic.com. That is STRESS2logic.com. If you're aware of any conference speaking engagements where you'd like to have me speak, I'd love an introduction. You can always share my electronic business card, which is Marcus Melnick, MarcusMelnick.com. Now, back to the show.
I'd like to give a shout out to RMG Guns and Ammunition in Mundelein. It is my absolute favorite gun store. The people in there are great. If you're not connected with them on Facebook, they do regular videos multiple times a week, and they're 1-minute videos. Tell you what they have in stock. They tell you what events are coming up, and I want to share an event that's coming up that the listeners might be interested in. The weekend of February 14th, RMG is having their customer appreciation sale. Now, I don't know exactly what's going to be on sale. They haven't told me, and even if I did, I probably couldn't announce it on the radio. But I'm going to check it out. Sounds great. I'm sure my wife will love it that I'm there on Valentine's Day. Ha, 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 ha. I'm kidding. I'll go during the day before she gets home from work. But it's an opportunity if you're looking for a deal and you're looking for absolute top-notch customer service, that is the place to go. Speaking of things occurring locally, a new court case came into being. Let's talk about it. The Cook County gun ammo tax is still unconstitutional, according to a judge. So let me tell you what that tax is. Way back in, I want to say 2013, 2014-ish, Cook County issued a tax on ammunition for any rimfire was 1 cent a bullet, so it's an extra 50 cents a box in tax above sales tax. Centerfire ammunition was taxed at a nickel a round, so $2.50 more a box of ammo. And firearms purchased in Cook County had an additional $25 violence tax. So a lot of people avoided purchasing anything in Cook County because of the additional taxes. With this law struck down, business may return to these Cook County retailers. Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle has supported all restrictions on firearm ownership and use enacted in Cook County and Springfield, including the county's gun and ammunition taxes. The tax should continue to be treated as unconstitutional, a Cook County judge has ruled, saying that the county's decision to find new destinations for tax money doesn't render superfluous a decision by the Illinois Supreme Court striking down the tax more than 3 years ago. On January 10th, Cook County Judge David Atkins granted summary judgment to a pro-Second Amendment rights group engaged in a long-running court fight challenging the constitutionality of Cook County's so-called gun and ammo tax. In the ruling, Atkins said he had no choice but to rule in favor of the plaintiffs after the Illinois Supreme Court struck down the tax. The court fight dates back to 2015 when this organization, together with a Des Plaines gun shop, that would be Maxon, and firing range owner and individual Cook County gun owner filed suit. The first version of the tax was implemented in 2012 when then Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle and the Cook County Board of Commissioners enacted this $25 fee on firearm purchases in the county. 3 years later, the county government followed with a measure imposing taxes on ammunition of either a penny or 5 cents, as I just said, and the taxes have just been part of a years-long campaign by gun control advocates and their allies in Chicago and Springfield to either ban or restrict the ability of Illinois residents to legally own and use a wide range of firearms in both Cook County and the rest of the state. Most recently, Illinois state lawmakers approved a new legislation to force police to confiscate firearms from anyone who may have an order of protection imposed on them, whether or not they have been charged or convicted of a crime. Critics have said that the law would rob gun owners of their constitutional rights, as gun owners would be given no opportunity to contest the seizure of their property before a court orders it. Governor Pritzker is expected to sign that measure into law, which will likely result in court challenges. Illinois also faces a host of ongoing legal challenges to the state's so-called ban on assault weapons and so-called large-capacity magazines. Those legal actions are pending before the U.S. Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals. The fate of the Illinois gun ban law, however, could be ultimately decided by the United States Supreme Court, either as part of proceedings directly addressing Illinois law, or in a decision from the High Court deciding the constitutionality of a very similar gun ban law in Maryland. The High Court is currently deciding whether to take up the case challenging the Maryland law. And legal challenges also remain pending in federal court in Chicago, seeking to strike down a similar local assault weapons ban ordinance in Cook County. However, in 2021, gun owners' rights advocates did score a significant win before the Illinois Supreme Court when that court's Democratic majority agreed Cook County's gun and ammo taxes were unconstitutional. The plaintiffs have argued that their fees and taxes violated rights to keep and bear arms. They also argued that taxes and fees violated another provision of the Illinois State Constitution known as the Uniformity Clause. Those arguments lost in both Cook County Court and at the Illinois First District Appellate Court, which upheld the county's taxes and fees as constitutional. In a ruling in 2021, the Illinois Supreme Court said the taxes and fees are unconstitutional. The High Court, however, largely sidestepped the Second Amendment questions. Rather, justices found that taxes should be invalidated by the Uniformity Clause. That provision governs the manner in which Illinois state government and its so-called local subdivisions, in this case county governments, can impose taxes on Illinois residents. Essentially, the uniformity clause has been interpreted by the Illinois Supreme Court in part to require state and local governments to make the tax line up with its stated purpose. In this case, the Illinois Supreme Court said Cook County enacted taxes with the stated purpose of helping Cook County raise money to offset some of the staggering economic and social cost of gun violence in Cook County. But in its 2021 decision, the Illinois Supreme Court ruled the Cook County gun and ammo taxes failed to hold up under the uniformity clause because the county never specified that the funds from the taxes would actually be used to accomplish these goals. The justices said that the standard is required in this instance specifically because the taxes burdened the ability of Cook County residents to exercise a constitutional right. In response to the ruling, Cook County officials quickly revised the gun and ammo tax ordinances to specifically direct tax money to programs and agencies the county claims will combat gun violence and deal with its effect. Back in Cook County Court, Cook County attorneys argued that these changes address the Illinois Supreme Court's uniformity clause concerns and should mean the courts can, again, try to pull the plug on the challenger's legal action. However, in his ruling, Judge Atkins simply changing which county or community programs benefit from the taxes does not undo the Illinois Supreme Court's ruling or render the plaintiff's challenge moot. The Illinois Supreme Court has made clear that there is a case that has been tried in court and remanded with specific directions to dismiss the bill or do some other act, and the court below has no power to do anything but carry out the specified directions. So this is some good news. It's a win for pro-Second Amendment people, and go out and make your purchases. Stay tuned for more after we come back from this short break.
The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters.